Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Stream of Thought podcast, where thoughts flow and ideas stick. I'm your host, Jasmine, and I'm in a new room. Um, I normally film this podcast in my pink or fuchsia, red, whatever color you want to call it, chair. And I still have that chair, but I have other plans for that chair. I want to like reupholster it and make it into something like totally different. So that's a different project. But for now and for the foreseeable future, I was like, oh, I can make this room into a podcast room and have all of my like neutral tones and my record player and just make it like cozy and make it more me. So this room is coming together slowly but surely. I have other things I want to add to it, but I'm liking it so far. Yeah, so my overarching topic this week is perception, because there are so many things that I have either listened to, watched, or just interactions with other people that made me think about perception. One thing that is super popular right now, and I don't even know if everybody's watched it or whatever, and this is not really a spoiler, but it's a really good show. I'll recommend it to anyone. His and Hers on Netflix. It has Tessa Thompson, who I love. She's a really good actress, and I think his name is John John something or other, and he's also a really good actor. So, but them together, they just mesh really well. But that show just really makes you like think. And one thing that they say a lot in the show is that there are three sides to every story: mine and yours, or yours and mine, um, ours and theirs, and his and hers, which means that someone is always lying. So I haven't heard it that way before. I always heard like, there's three sides to every story: yours, mine, and then the truth, right? But hearing it that way, I was like, okay. It's saying the same thing, but slightly different. And so it just made me think of this thing that I've always said. Like, the truth, honestly, is whatever you believe. It's whatever you believe. Because if he tells you a story and then I tell you a story, but it's slightly different. We went through the same things, but it's a slightly different telling of the story. Because, in all honesty, and this can be intentional or unintentional, um, we as people, we as humans, can twist the story in our favor, whether we know we're doing it or not. And like, you might remember things slightly different than other people remember them, or the story is just more beneficial to you than it is to the other person. So the person hearing the story has to choose what they want to believe, or if they don't want to believe any of it. And so that is so interesting to me, because um I feel like, I don't want to give it away, but I feel like that show really shows you how different people can see the same situations in different ways and take different things from it as well. So yeah, recommend that show. But another thing that made me think about perception was, it was this, I think, Instagram or TikTok, some type of influencer couple that had been together since they were 14 years old. And then they're now getting a divorce, and they're like in their 30s or something like that. And for me, my perception from the outside looking in, because I don't know these people, I could not see myself being with the same person since 14. So I'm 31 now. So I just imagine like my late teenage years and also through my 20s being with the same person when I didn't even know who I was. So like, the expectation of me, I feel like that's a high expectation of thinking you're going to, end up with the same person for that long, or that you will be the same person throughout your whole life, because the whole point is to grow and develop and all that stuff. So, you you either grow together and grow apart. And that's not to say, or grow apart. And that's not to say that some of these relationships don't last, cuz I know people where it does last, but I'm speaking from my perspective and my perception. The people that I was interested in at 14, I would never be interested in them at 31, like ever. And the things that I valued at 14, the things that I valued at 21, I don't value at 31. So, um, and that is okay, because I think that your 20s are for you to learn and make mistakes and grow and find yourself. I was finding myself. And so if that guy was also finding himself, like, who knows if we would, even be on the same page with things. So I find that to be interesting, and I find it to be something that I just could never see myself um, doing. I just, and that I also wouldn't like recommend. Like, obviously, make your own choices, but like, if you ask me, I don't know. I don't know. But in that particular situation with that couple, and like I said, I don't know everything about it, but I just know what was like in the news, because when you're a celebrity, like, all your business is out there, unfortunately. But so I saw that the guy basically said that he went to his wife and asked for a separation, and she didn't want to get a separation, so he ended up cheating. And I have opinions on that as well. I have a perspective and on that. So if he went to her, if it played out like this, if he went to her and asked for a separation, and was honest in saying the reason why he wanted a separation, like, he was interested in someone else, blah, 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 he was over the marriage, and she said no, and then he ends up cheating. I think that she had out, and I would have took it, and I would have been hurt, obviously very hurt, but and probably wouldn't have talked to him for a long time, unless I absolutely had to. But I would have respected it. I respect honesty so much more than you just going out here and doing whatever. So I would respect the fact that he came to me and he said, "This is what I want to do, and I don't want to be with you anymore." Um, so yeah, but different perceptions, who knows what that woman was thinking? Who knows if it even happened that way? But you know, if it did, that's interesting. So moving on to another thing that I felt like um brought to my mind, perception. I have been on this yearly devotional daily Bible reading thing. So I've never read the Bible cover to cover. I go to church, I'm Christian, I believe in God, and I know my relationship with God, and there's certain Bible verses that I like to um, quote or remind myself of, but I've never read the Bible cover to cover. So I got this app called the Bible app, and it's a challenge per se, to read scripture every single day. So, like I said, I know my relationship with God, and I know how I perceive the Bible and Christianity and all the things, right? And how I can read a Bible verse and think certain things But that also made me think about how other people can read that same Bible verse and totally perceive it in a different way than I did. And like I can't judge that, the truth to you is what you believe, right? So I don't believe it, and that's not my faith, right? But it's yours, and I can't necessarily tell you you're wrong. I can tell you that I don't agree. So yeah, I've been doing that, and it's been going well. I'm learning a lot. Like I said, I didn't never read the Bible cover to cover, and so there's a lot of things that I had no idea even happened, and a lot of things that I'm also learning that I feel like I will remember forever. So, um, the last thing about perception that stood out to me as well. So I was listening to a podcast, and they were talking about feminine energy and like how a woman can have feminine energy. And one of the guys was like, I feel like it's either in you or it's not. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree that it's either are feminine or soft, as they say, or you're not. Um, it's innately in you. But I do think that, the right guy could help you like pull it out. Like maybe you're like hard and like tough to the world, right? But when you go home and that right guy, like you might get soft and you might be feminine. You might do all the things that you don't do outside, you're more vulnerable. So, and I and then another question out there, like do you think that like all women have feminine energy innately? Um And the guy was like, no, he doesn't think that every woman has it. And that's interesting because I think that, like I said, to my point, I think that we all do, but sometimes it takes a situation or a person or just yourself to pull it out. Um, but we're all women, so of course we have a feminine persona. We're not naturally masculine, right? So, yeah, those are the things that I really thought about were like super interesting about perception this week. And I feel like I'm learning something new every day. It's And I love that. I love that about life. Like just learning something new and hearing other people's perspectives is like so cool to me. I guess that's why I'm into psychology, cuz like just understanding the human mind and human behavior and how people think and how they operate and how it's different than how I think and operate is just really intriguing to me. So, yeah, I'm excited to just keep on living, and learning more from people and things. One thing, not really related to perception, but that I want to leave on is that people who say, I usually don't do this, like they probably do it all the time. Like that made me think of like, because I had to check myself before. And I was like, girl, stop. Like you just did that yesterday. Calm down. So yeah, fun fact to leave on. But yeah, thank you all for listening to this episode and hope to see you next time. Bye.